When I was still a student, I worked for the BYU College of Fine Arts and Communications. I worked in their public relations office, and the College of Fine Arts and Communications every year puts out a documentary series. It's like a short documentary series called Arts and Comms, Behind the Stories. So just from working in the office, after some time, I got like a role assisting the producer of the series. And I would often go on set to just kind of like be a student, just kind of learn and watch, but I started to become a little bit more involved with distribution and a little bit more involved in planning the production days, and just kind of worked up from there. And these were my first experiences kind of like being behind the camera and like having a say and like what was going on set. And so from that I gained a lot of confidence, and I worked with Becca on this project. She was brought in to help film and kind of create and be like an artistic director on the series. And so we got to know each other through that, and when I graduated, she asked me if I'd want to work with Summer Creative Agency. It's a female-founded agency, always looking to like promote women in film. And I was totally on board. That was like a dream come true. So specifically the College of Fine Arts and Communications, that documentary series is amazing. Like it explores like students and their stories and like what they're doing with their arts education, and like how broad that really is, like what it means to be in like fine arts and communications, and just all the things that you can do for the world with that. I loved it as like a student from that college, being able to like promote those stories and learn about like just how broad the world is, and like how much we need art and we need good communicators and good storytellers. So it was really, really inspiring. As a producer at Summer Creative Agency, I am in charge of kind of organizing production days, as well as assisting the director, Becca Summers, and just making sure that like everything internally is working out and that we have everything planned and prepped for when we actually go and like film people. And then I also work inside the agency, like promoting and distributing the material that like we've created, and showcasing what we can do for clients, and all the different things that we create and make. So it's a lot of different hats when I'm on set, and a lot of different hats when I'm just working for home and internally. My favorite thing is being on set, and part of like being a producer and an assistant producer is kind of becoming an expert on all of these different people that we interview and these stories that we tell. And I may not know like a lot about the subject or exactly the full scope of the story that we're telling, but as like I prep for these production days and as I'm on set listening to these people, I feel like I walk away with like a little like niche expertise that I can then go and like share and get really excited about as I like promote and tell the story. I have always kind of been interested in like performance mainly. So when I was a kid, I did theater, I don't know, like stories and stuff like that. And then I graduated in acting from BYU, and so that put me on set a bunch. And when I was on set, I started to like get more and more curious about like the actual like process of like making a film, and started like diving into more of that and like trying to be on set as much as possible. And that's where I met Becca, who runs Summer Creative Agency, and she brought me in as a producer, and it's been absolutely amazing. Like I love knowing what's going on behind the camera as someone who started in front of the camera. So I work from home usually, and there's about 2 or 3 times a month I'll go into the office or be on set for production. But when I work from home, I will usually jump on my computer and kind of like just run through my email and kind of separate things from like client work to like internal work. And for client work, that'll look like scheduling and like confirming with people. And then internal work will sometimes look like promoting some of the projects we've done on social media for our own marketing. We'll meet with clients and we'll figure out exactly what they want, and my role often within that is to create what's called like a pitch deck and kind of just break down like the services that we offer, as well as kind of help our client understand like what we can do for them and how we can tell their story. And in those like meetings and in those sessions, like we'll really break down and be like, what are you looking for? What's your story? How can we tell it? Like, what resources do we need? So often we'll have meetings virtually where we'll discuss that, and it's my job to kind of take notes and also go forward and prepare like the next kind of round of review and conversation. I love like figuring out what the needs are, and then, you know, turning on like the producer part of my brain where it's like, how do we make that happen? Like, what's reasonable, what's possible, where can we stretch, where can we push, and yeah, like find like the surprising things where it's like, oh, that is a possibility. We can totally film there, or we can totally film that. So I think Utah is one of the best places to start as a filmmaker, and even to start as an actress. I would say I'm very young and like very new in like my filmmaking career and as in my acting career, but it's been such like a wonderful community to just like dive into. There are so many different perspectives and like so many different people like coming from different places to Utah, and just like the landscape in Utah is so diverse. Like you can film any season here, and like any kind of like from small town to like big city to the mountains. Like we just have it all. And like this past year since I've graduated, I've found like a really wonderful group of filmmakers where everyone is willing to work on each other's projects and just kind of like help you turn what would, you know, be like just a simple like passion project into something that like is much bigger than it ever could have been, something that goes through festivals and something that people see and they're like, yes, that's amazing. So I love working as a filmmaker here, and as an actress, there are so many opportunities once you just kind of like dive in and even start making your own opportunities. It's amazing. And when I graduated, I would still love to go to LA, but I was surprised like after a few months of being in Utah still, like how much I loved it and how much I was finding and how much I felt inspired, and also the space to create my own work, which I don't know if I would have felt that if I'd gone to LA, where it's just so big and like everyone has all this experience, and it's just kind of hard to like find a community from what I've heard from friends that are out there. But I feel like while I've been here in Utah, I've found that community of filmmakers that are like, yes, absolutely, like how can we make your project come to life, and are just willing to do it, you know, and that space. And yeah, I love it here. It's great. I would advise new people entering the filmmaking industry just to keep doors open. A year ago, I never would have considered myself to be like a full-time producer. I thought I was going to go out and just act and voice act and perform and everything. And that just wasn't, you know, like in the cards for me. It was something different. And just from like keeping my doors open and my mind open to different possibilities, I found this role at Summer Creative Agency that has been so perfect for me and my interests, and ultimately, you know, where I want to go in my career. And when I was a student, I just didn't know the range of possibilities there were for an artist or for a filmmaker specifically, and what that looked like. You know, I feel like you sometimes go into school and you're like, there are only 3 things I can do with my major that I'm graduating in, but in reality, there are endless possibilities, some of which you can find and some of which you can make. And I think I've learned in this past year that I can make my own opportunities. I can go and find opportunities, and they're gonna be amazing and great. But the ones that I make will be the most rewarding and lead to the greatest other opportunities and the greatest other connections. Sometimes it's hard to remember as a student, and I'm still learning this too. I've only been graduated for about a year. But remembering like your career is gonna be like 40 years plus or whatever sometimes. And just like, there are so many different routes and possibilities that you can go. You don't have to lock into one thing right away or be nervous when you graduate that you're not doing what you want to do yet. I think that was like a huge point of pressure for me as I graduated. I saw a lot of my friends move to New York and like start acting out there, and I wanted to be there, but I was still here in Utah, and I was like, I'm not doing like what I spent all this money and time preparing myself to do. But then I kind of took a look around and I was like, actually I am. I'm producing. I'm doing something that like I need to do, not just want to do, but I need. And I feel like I'm finding a space in the industry that needs me. And that is like way more rewarding than like doing what I thought I would be doing. So